Welcome in the today's lecture of the surgery. The today's lecture will be on the general management of the fracture, or second part. In first part, we have started the general management of fracture, and we have seen that the general management includes what? The general assessment and the management. Second, a treatment of fracture proper. Then the rehabilitation. And in last lecture we have completed the general assessment and the management, and we have started the treatment of the fracture of proper. In the treatment of fracture proper, we have been seeing in treatment of fracture proper, we have been seeing that the treatment of the fracture proper should be start after defining the fracture. After defining the fracture, because when we define the fracture means we will explain the fracture, what type of the fracture, where it is there, what's the nature is there, how is the displacement, how is the fracture line. On that, the further steps of the management are dependent, or the plan of management is dependent. So that's why we have to define first, as we have seen in the last lecture. Then what is includes in this lecture, this management of the fracture proper. One is the reduction, as you have been already seen. Second, immobilization, and third, medicinal treatment. We have started the reduction in last lecture, and in the reduction, there are two methods of reductions. There is closed reduction and second one is open reduction. About reduction and closed reduction, yesterday we have been seeing that. Now we will see the methods of. In last lecture we have been seeing the indications, advantage and the disadvantage of the closed reduction. So we will see the methods of closed reduction. The methods of the closed reduction, one is the manipulation, and second is by the traction. The first, the manipulation, is called the closed manipulation. So what is the closed manipulation? Means it is to be reducted or neutralized by the manually. So that's called by manipulation. When it can called manipulation, if there is no cross displacement, simple fracture is to be there, and when the fracture is stable or doesn't require much more force for the reduction, and will remain stable after the reduction. In such a cases, we can carry out by closed manipulation. This closed manipulation should be carried out under either the anesthesia, that's usually local anesthesia, and or under sedation. Why? Because it has to be moved the fracture in manually, and when we will move manually, it will cause the pain. Second, it will be difficult to reduce also that. When we will give the anesthesia or sedation, it will help us to reduce easily. Why? Because due to the anesthesia, there will not be pain to the patient. Pain will not be there. Second thing, muscle becomes relaxed. And you can move the fracture in easily. So that's why the reduction by the closed manipulation is easier when we carry it under the anesthesia or the sedation. They understood? This is the best method of the reduction. If it is possible, it's the best method of reduction because it doesn't require any aid. Just manually you can carry out your OPD also. So that's why the best method is there. Which one? The by closed of manipulation. But remember, when you carry out the closed manipulation, you should carry under, as I already told, anesthesia or the sedation. Second, you should carry gently. The method should be the gentle, and that's why you should carry out by the expert person, specialized person. Otherwise, what happens? While reduction manually, it may cause the damage to the surrounding structures, isn't it? So, this is one method. Another method is traction method. The fracture can be reduced by the continuous traction. Continuous traction. Traction should be the continuous one. That traction means what? The applying the pull over the bone. Applying the pull over the bone, and by which we can reduce the fracture. Suppose this fracture is to be there, overlapping is there. Applying the load over it one or force over the fracture bone, it can pull downwards and can be reducted. Do you understand? And the traction is indicated in the cases where there is a inability to reduce the fracture by manipulation. When it occurs that if the fracture is unstable. Second, if the fractured bone is surrounded by the huge muscles, it's difficult to manipulate it. In such cases, you can use the traction, and the two types of the traction can be used. One is skin traction, and second is skeletal traction. Skeletal traction, skin traction, and the skeletal traction. Skin traction means what? Here the pull is applied by applying the weight over the skin. It's called skin traction. While skeletal traction, it is traction where pull is applied by applying the load or weight over the bone. That's called skeletal traction. We will see it in detail while taking the immobilization traction. Then next one method of the reduction of the fracture is open reduction. Open reduction means what? It is reduction of the fracture. It is the reduction of the fracture by opening the site of the fracture or by making direct approach to the fracture site. It's called as the open reduction. Now indications for the open reductions. Indications are, number one, if closed reduction is not possible. Wait, not possible. One second indication, if a fracture is open, or we can say open wound fracture. Open wound fracture. Third indications, multiple fracture. Fourth, compound fracture. Fifth, complicated fracture. So these are the indications are for open reduction. So what is it? First is if the closed reduction is not possible. In some cases, closed reduction is not possible. As I already said, where the bones fracture ends are unstable, or muscles are strong, or in such a position that displacement is gross, that which cannot be brought back by the close manipulation. In such cases, you require the open reduction. Second, if open wound fracture is there, if already with the fracture there is an open wound, there is a cut in the what? Skin overlying or tissue overlying the bone, means already wound is there, open wound is there. There is no question about what? Risk of infection. Already there is risk of infection is there. There is no new risk is there. And already as an open wound is there, so you can make the approach by dissecting the further tissue and directly viewing the site of the fracture. Here we should not be thinking about what? Getting the infection or risk of the infection, because already there is a wound is open. So we can further make the exposure of the bone and we can reduce the fracture. Then in multiple fracture, the close reduction is not possible. Why? Suppose a bone is there and it's fractured into 3 pieces and you try to manipulate or to give the traction. What happens? These 2 fractured bone pieces will be pulled and the middle fragments, it will remain immobile or the non-reducted. It will be remains displaced. Do you understand? So in multiple fracture also it is not possible. Then in compound fracture, if there is compound fracture is there, then close reduction is not possible, because in case of the compound fracture, the multiple fragments of the bone may be interposed into the tissue. When you try to remove, it will cause damage to the tissue, more damage to the tissue. So that's why in such case of the fracture, we have to open the wound, have to remove these multiple pieces or fragments of the bone, isn't it, properly by directly approaching them. That is a 4th one indication. And the last one indication is a complicated fracture. If the fracture is complicated, either along with the injury to the nerve, injury to the vessels, or injury to the surrounding tissue or the muscles and ligament particularly, we must have repaired these structures which are damaged. Which has been damaged. In such cases, to repair that one, we have to make approach to them, and for that we must have opened the site of the fracture, and in these cases we have to carry out with the open reduction. So these all are the indications of open reduction. Now advantage of the open reduction. Advantages. Advantages of the open reduction. Number 1, we can visualize site of fracture by making the direct approach. Second, we can reduct the fracture accurately without damaging to the surrounding tissue. Third, can repair the tissue. Can repair the tissue. Here in close reductions, you cannot repair the tissue. Here, small damage, slight damage, and you cannot clean the wound also. There you can clean the wound also. You can write the 4th one already. Can clean the wound. So that are the advantages. Now it has the disadvantages also. And these disadvantages are number 1, risk of infection. There is a high risk of the infection. Both endogenous is already, but exogenous risk is also there. Exogenous infection can be occur. So that's why the risk of infection. It is time-taking process. Isn't it? Opening the wound, site of the fracture, approaching, then repairing, closing, it takes much more time. It needs hospitalization. Isn't it? It needs hospitalization. Fourth, it is expensive. Isn't it? So these are the disadvantages of the open reduction. As you have seen already in case of closed reductions, what difference is there? Here, the advantages are less, disadvantages are more, isn't it? While in the closed reductions, advantages are more, disadvantages are less. But however, when we require to carry out the open reduction, we must have to carry out the open reduction because such a fractures can be reduced only by the method of open reduction. You understood? Hope that you understood that. Then we will say immobilization. Immobilization. The second step in the treatment of the fracture proper is the immobilization. Now, what do we immobilization? Immobilization means it is a method or the process of holding the two fracture end at the place, not allowing to move. It's called as a immobilization. They understood what is immobilization? It is a process of holding the two fracture end at the place after the reduction, not allowing the movement at that side. It's called as a immobilization. They understood? Now the methods of immobilization, and remember every fracture requires the immobilization, either displaced or undisplaced. Very few fractures doesn't require active immobilization or the strict immobilization. Now the methods of immobilization are the various methods are used for it, isn't it? These are number one, using the stick, using the sticks, bandaging, plastering or the plaster, traction, and the last one is skeletal fixation. Skeletal fixation. Skeletal fixation. Traction and the skeletal fixation. The first one, using the sticks. This method you will not get in the books. This is an old method. Old method. But you have to remember, if the patient is at in the roadside or in the area where a hospital is not close, the bandage is not available, plaster is not available, but we have to immobilize the fracture. This is by using the stick. In old days, what they were doing, previously it was doing in the human being also there. After the fracture, after reduction, they are using the stick towards the wind around the fractured bone. Isn't it? Are you getting? The stick are used to place where? At the reduction side, and this stick bind with the either the rope or the strip, whatever material available for the binding is that, isn't it? Usually cotton strips are used to bind it because it will firmly attach the stick with it like that. It was using the old days. Now also you can use it in case of the emergency. Later this method were used or was used in the animals by using the sticks. Now single stick can be used and multiple stick can be used, or whole around the part. One thing, if you know that few years ago in hospitals, particularly pediatric hospitals, the pediatricians were using the small sticks for what? The immobilizing the hands of the kids, infants. So what? Giving the IV fluids. Previously, for infusion of the IV fluids, the needles, they were the steel needles. There was no neurocans, no intracath. After the venesection, the child was moving the arm or the part and causing what? The displacement of the needle, and is going out of the veins. So that time the pediatricians were using the sticks for immobilizing the hands of the kid, isn't it? And will immobilize the child moves the hand, so total bone will be moved. Total hand move, there is not movement at the wrist or at the joint is there. Isn't it? Similarly, in case of fracture, you can use the stick button in case of emergency. Now it is made outdated by people are there, but you should remember for your practice. Then bandaging. Bandaging can be used in cases where the fracture is what? The minor crack, which there is no need for going to plaster or the further methods. So you can use the bandaging in cases where the fracture, where the simple crack, incomplete fracture, where it doesn't require what? A rigid immobilization. And different kind of bandage use. Simple bandaging or the crepe bandage can be used. Do you understand? Then next is plaster. This is the most common and the popular method. This is most common and popular method. Plastering or the plaster. You might have seen that number of the patient or number of the persons who got the fracture, they comes with what? The plaster to their hand, their feet. Isn't it? So that's why it's a common one that. When it can be used, if the fracture is simple, fracture is stable, is it? Then you can use the plaster. Most commonly use the plaster there. And there is single fracture. Simple, single, and a stable fracture. In these cases, you can use the plaster. In plaster water, the bandage is embedded into the plaster of Paris and is wrapped around the part of which bone is get fractured. And different type of the plasters are used. Different types of plasters are used. These are plaster cast. Second, U-plaster. And third, complete encircling plaster. First of plaster cast. Plaster cast means is making the cast of the plaster like a strip, where the bandage is embedded into plaster of Paris, is kept and the one cast is made, and that cast is applied on the one side of the affected part to immobilize the movement at the bone which is fractured. Isn't it? So this type of the cast is used. By taking the bandage, it is cast. Plaster cast. And this plaster cast is applied over the bone like this. Suppose this bone gets fractured, and here the plaster cast is made like that one, and this is wrapped around the bone there. Do you understand? This is advantage of this one, that it doesn't cause the compartment syndrome. It doesn't exert the pressure. It is less cost effective, easy process, but it has disadvantage. It doesn't do the rigid immobilization. Then next, the U-shaped plaster. U-shaped plaster means what? The plaster which is on the three sides, and one side is kept open. One side is kept open. That called U-shaped plaster. Advantage of when it is used that if there is chances of the swelling after the immobilization, isn't it? And if swelling occurs, it will cause the compartment syndrome. And you keep the plaster like this one to the three sides and one side open, so this portion is allowed to swell up and doesn't cause the compartment syndrome. Do you understand? In such cases, you can use the U-plaster. And last is what? Complete encircling plaster means around the whole arm. This is the most commonly used one. That. Why? Because advantages of this is that it gives the rigid immobilization. Whatever you require, what you desire. That's why this complete plastering is used most commonly. But this advantage of this complete plastering is that it will cause atrophy after the removal of this plaster emulsion. Second, most risk is that chances of compartment syndrome. Chances of compartment syndrome. So that's why in such cases, this above any of these plasters are used. But disadvantage of these are two, it doesn't do the rigid immobilization. So these are the three methods. First, the using the stick, which is an outdated method, but you should remember, it will help you in the your practice. Then bandaging, and the most popular, most commonly used method is the plastering method. Any kind of this plaster used. Do you understand? So this is the three methods of immobilization. In next lecture, we will see the other methods of the immobilization and the rest of treatment. That is medicinal treatment of the fracture and the rehabilitation. Okay. And after completion of general management, instead of taking the type of fracture, we will go for the dislocations of the joints. Hope that you understand this lecture. In next lecture, I will complete the remaining general management of the fracture, and then further lecture will be continued.